Hello, and welcome to Center Stage at Meek. Boy, do we have a treat for you today. I have with me today my friend April Obryant. We met many years ago when she was a teacher over at Michael Crop Senior High School. So today we're going to just get in and learn a little bit more about you and the work that you do with the students through Dade schools. And by the way, Miss O'Brien is also an adjunct professor for Miami-Dade College. She teaches humanities. And one thing that I always say with my guests here at Center Stage is that Miami-Dade College has talent. And we're sitting here with a talent today. So we're just gonna have a little conversation. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I appreciate being considered for center stage at Meek. So I'm excited to be here.
And for those of you that might not know, this is the Carrie P. Meek Center of Miami-Dade College. It is a center here in Liberty City. We serve this community. My name is Shameen Garrison, and I am the executive director of the Carrie P. Meek Center. So we're going to get into the interview. Yeah. All right. So welcome again. To begin, can you tell us a little bit about who April O'Brien is? Beyond the titles and the accolades, tell me who you are.
Okay, well, April O'Brien, I am first a mother, a daughter. I am a theater educator, and I'm an actress. I'd like to say a director, and I would say a curator of creativity. Um, it just comes from somewhere. I have a passion in me. I started at a very young age, middle school. I went to Norland Middle, which I was in the theater magnet there.
Oh, okay.
And then from there, I went to Miami Northwestern, the Miami Northwestern Senior High School, and I was in the Payback Theater program under the direction of Charlotte Seward. And after that, I went to FAMU, and I majored in theater education. And from FAMU, I went directly into the field of education. So I started out very young, being very passionate about youth. My first job was a very hard job. I was a camp counselor.
Ooh,
It
yes.
was a very little rough job, but it was something that I enjoyed about just being an educator of some sorts, teaching and working with students. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that is how I kind of fell into it. Initially, I did not want to be a teacher, right? I wanted to be an actress, but it was the moment where I worked at Booker T Senior High School, and I had a group of young ladies, and they performed for colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough.
Mm-hmm.
And they did very well at the thespian district competition, but they went to state, Florida State thespian competition, and they were critics' choice
Whoa.
at state. And back then, for a piece of color, in the early 2000s, I started teaching in 2003, for that to be chosen, to see the impact that it made on my students, these 7 young ladies who just walked into an elective theater class, it was something that just kind of took over my spirit, and it was like, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do.
Wow, wow. So from that, I got, first of all, you're a product of Miami-Dade County Public Schools,
Yes.
right here in Miami, right down the street, down the block from here at Miami Northwestern.
Yes.
Yes, I'm telling you, Miami has talent.
Yes.
And an elective class. So you were not teaching magnet theater at the
No.
time. These were students that didn't even probably recognize that they wanted or had that type of talent.
No, they didn't. They thought I was this crazy lady that came in having them run around and play all these theater games. And I just said, hey, look, you're going to do this. 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 We're going to put it together. I need you to stay after school. And they kind of enjoyed it. And then we just
Wow.
went from there.
And that was the bug for you.
That was the bug for me?
Well, I was going to ask, when did you first discover your love for theater and the performing arts? Probably at a younger age, like you said, when you were like maybe in middle school at Norland.
Yes. Well, actually, I started performing before then. My parents, I guess they always saw that I had something creative. So, both
Drama queen a little.
did drama queen just a little, but I started in third grade at the Theodore R. Gibson Oratorical Contest. And then from there, I was also taking ballet and dance. And the way that I really got into it is I knew I was liking it, right? Because I had good memorization and I can,
Mm-hmm.
for oratorical contests, it was a big thing when you were doing Maya Angelou or Langston Hughes, and you could roll your neck and give them a little oomph. But I met my theater teacher. I started taking voice lessons with her. I am a reclaimed singer as well.
Oh.
No, that's a joke. Okay. But I was taking voice lessons with Miss Seward at Norland Middle, like an aftercare. Like they had dance, they had
Mm-hmm.
voice, and
After school program.
after school programs that I was just doing. Like my parents were getting me acclimated into the arts. They tried me in judo at Miami Dade. I told them that was not for me. I got pinned down. I was crying, and I just was like, I don't. That's not the lifestyle. So we tried. Vocals and dance. And then that's how I met Miss Charlotte Seward. And she told my parents, hey, have her audition for Norland Middle. And that's how I kind of got in and started doing all of the acting and performing. So it was a very young age that I had been performing.
Okay, so that was your defining moment, like you said, was when you had those students that were in the elective theater program that, I can do this.
Yeah.
Yes, and I can make a difference. Okay. So, what inspired you to pursue? Well, we just talked about that. This is what inspired you to pursue teaching, specifically working with young people, though. At when you were at Booker T, you said, right?
Yes.
So you've dedicated over a decade to Miami-Dade County Public Schools. What have kept you grounded and motivated to continue doing it?
Well, as a teacher, we know it's not the money, right? It is not the money. It is the students. It is the ability to produce something, go through this process, watch them grow, see it on stage, hear their reactions, see their excitement, talk to the parents about how they watch their child grow from being afraid or not trying out things to just going all out. I remember one parent, she came to me and she said, Miss Obryant, I am so happy that my daughter is in your program. My child didn't speak. Now she's walking around the house singing.
Whoa,
And I was like,
powerful.
oh my God. So those are the things that motivate me. Or when I get the phone calls of students that have gone on to do other things, like I've had a young man who, actually two students who are on Broadway national tours.
Okay.
And
Well, we're going to talk about some of your former students in a little while,
okay,
because I will ask you some questions about, students that you might have remembered.
okay, so
So,
I'll hold that for there. Okay.
so how has teaching theater enhanced your own experience as a performer or artist?
I didn't really realize until I went back to school that at NYU that the skills that I had constantly been teaching my students, I had it in me.
Mm.
Because in my courses, I'm just, doing what I do, right? So I come up with something, I'm acting, we have monologues, it's time to have performances. And my professor was like, I'm really impressed with the decisions or the choices that you make as an actress.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, really? After all of these years? I would think that I would be a little bit rusty. And then I had a classmate that came up in my last course, my last acting class, and said the same thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it is the ability for me to work on plays and productions with my students. And as I'm showing them how to deliver the lines, it's kind of continuing to hone my skills as a director and an actress.
Thank you for that. So, there's so much going on in the world today. Students have a lot that they're carrying with them. Why do you believe that theater and performing arts are so important to education today?
Well, I think that the arts is a vehicle that allows the students to really express themselves, right? They are going through a lot. And I know that we often joke and say, you don't have nothing to worry about. Like, you guys have this, you guys have that. When I was
Right.
growing up, I had the such and such and such. And then my parents would say, well, when I was growing up, I had the such and such and such. And I think it's that the students have their own issues of today, their own anxieties. And I think when they come into my classroom, it's an opportunity to kind of forget about that outside. Like when they come
Mm-hmm.
into the room with the theater faces, they know they're going to have a great time. They're going to forget very temporarily what's going on outside the doors. They're going to be running
Mm-hmm.
around. They're going to be playing games. They're going to be acting. They're going to be singing. They're going to be having fun. So I think it is a way for them to relieve some anxiety, relieve
Mm-hmm.
some stress, and just really get an opportunity also to meet some people and make new friends. I think the theater classroom and the arts is very welcoming to all individuals.
Yes.
And we accept everyone for who they are and what they can
Mm-hmm.
bring to the table. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I love about the classroom. It's like, it's very inviting.
I've seen that firsthand, being in your classroom and other theater classrooms, because I am a drama mama. I have two girls that are, theater, uh, you know, they just love theater, you know.
Yes.
And so I've seen the magic. I've seen how everyone is accepted. Even some special needs students in the classroom are accepted in those spaces, which is wonderful to see. And I wonder, with technology these days and social media and students always connected electronically, how has in the classroom, is that a challenge for you, or do you find that students, they may not realize it, but maybe it is a good release from that sometimes, right?
Yeah, I think it can be a challenge. One of the things that I do to combat that is I kind of have the students put their cell phones away.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come in my class, it's get dressed in all black, cell phones in the book bags in the dressing rooms. Book Phones are not allowed on your physical body. Phones are just not allowed anywhere in the classroom, and it gives them an opportunity to unplug. Of course, you
Mm-hmm.
have the student here and there be looking
Yeah.
and sneaking their
Uh-huh.
phone, but then I make them go and put it away. So it allows them to kind of totally unplug and
And
to
be present.
be present.
100% present. I love that.
Yeah.
How do you see theater helping students find their voice, confidence, and identity?
Oh, that's actually a really great question. I just did a class at NYU, a Theater of the Oppressed class, and it kind of focuses directly on teaching students how to find their voice and how to exercise their voices through acting and performing. So there is something called form theater where students have the opportunity to, let's say, play a scenario maybe where there was a situation with a teacher that really made them feel like they had no voice. But then there is the opportunity for the audience to kind of step in and say, well, if I were in that role, this is what I would do. It's called a spec actor. So
Mm-hmm.
the students kind of take on that role, they jump in there, and then they actually perform like what an alternative would be to that situation. Or also getting the students to understand that there are systems set in place in the world, and there are going to be systems that we cannot, break, but there is a way to still kind of stand up for what you believe, and that's what the theater does. So it kind of builds a platform. It's not going to solve the world, right?
Right.
It's not going to fix it, but it kind of gives them some sort of hope. So I think that that's what theater does for some of the students. It can create that platform for them to
Mm-hmm.
speak. And me as a director, I will say I always, and you could probably see from my work, I always pick the things that make the statement, the things that people are not talking about,
Right.
the issues that are concerns in our society with our students. I'm
So,
not picking the Cinderellas. I'm
mm-mm.
picking the plays that have a heartbeat to it that leads to something else.
So you're helping them find a voice. And I bet some of your students find advocacy through some of the pieces that you have them present. Now they think about these issues and things that are happening in the world around us. So, the work that you're doing in the classroom, I'm sure it's transcending across different areas of these students' lives.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. That is my hope. And I do, have candid conversations. I think that's what I love about being a theater teacher. A lot of the times, teachers are afraid to kind of touch on certain subjects. But as a theater teacher, we don't really deal with censorship. So I can kind of get in there
Yes.
and talk to them and say, okay, like, how do you feel about this new administration and what they said about this? And how does that make you feel? And how do you think that affects your future? So.
Yeah. So your students have earned top honors at state competitions. What does that success represent to you?
I think that is like the highest level of success in an acting competition. I have been fortunate enough to do it for every school. I've had top honors at every school that I taught at, and it's a blessing, and it is an opportunity for the kids to see students that look like us. We can get in there. We are talented. We can sing, we can act, we can dance, and we can do it just as well. And the thing about it is, my students do it with small resources. We don't have 5 theater teachers, one for musical theater, one for tech, one for sound. We don't have all of that.
So your students are doing the work for tech and learning how
Yes.
to present their
Yes.
pieces.
Yeah, they're learning everything, and then I'm the one teacher there facilitating, and parents come in like you did, coming in, and we're building sets, and I'm bringing in whenever we can afford it from fundraisers, vocal production people. So when my students get top honors, and it's compared to some of the other magnet programs in Miami-Dade County that are like the creme de la creme, it makes me feel
It means that much
that much more.
because started from the bottom.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here, and we go without the resources, saying, hey, you don't need all of that. You don't have to go to a school downtown. You can go to a school that is a regular school setting, and you could still sing better, dance better, act better. So it's not where you come from, it's what you have.
And the talent from within.
And
that's
the
what's
talent from
shining on
within.
the stage.
Yes, that's what's
Not
shining.
the money, not the glitz.
Yes.
The talent.
Yes. So that's what always makes me feel good when I go back to school or to my schools and I'm bragging to my principals. I'm like, such and such school was there. Oh, and my students beat them. And so that's the thing.
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights.
So is there a student success story that has stayed with you?
Okay, yes, there is. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I shared this with the students. I think the most recent success story for me was when I was working at Michael Crop, and we did our one act competition. And when I say we worked for this one act competition, those kids were in rehearsals night and day, no exaggerations, coming on Saturdays, painting, getting the set together, just really putting all the hard work in. Costumes, we did everything together. It was start to finish. And when we went to district competition, they got all-star casts, but they were not picked as a representative. And for me, I was crushed. This is the first time as a director, I cried for 2 days because something in me said, this isn't right, because we are the only school that performed a musical. Everybody loves a musical.
Come on.
Everybody loves a musical. We were the only musical performed. We were the only Black school that performed in that one act competition. We got all-star cast, but you didn't think we needed to be state representatives or representing the district. And so I was like, okay, but something in me just wasn't at ease. And I don't know, I just got this feeling. I said, I bet they're going to call us and tell us that we are district reps. it was something that I couldn't rest with. Long story short, when I saw the call, I said, "Oh, I already know what he wants." He said, "Oh, Miss Obryant, my school, by the way, which only had 2 students, so we have a full cast, musical, and they performed a play with 2 students, and I didn't see it, so I don't know if it was good, but he said, "We're not going. Can you be district reps?" I said, "Absolutely,
What's
absolutely.
for you?
What's for us? What's for us?" Then we went on to competition at state, and you were there in the room, and we performed. The kids were feeling, because they were the hardest critics on themselves, they were feeling, "Oh, we didn't do well." And I'm like, "What? You killed it. That's amazing." When the judges came in the room, they said, "We were waiting for you."
Wow.
We got Critics' Choice at state.
Yes.
So to me, that was like my biggest success story. I had never done one acts before because it takes a lot of work. Felt defeated, felt like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I fumbled this. Like, how could this possibly happen when I know I did da 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 da?" You know, like when you
You
know.
know, through your teaching, your students get they have this work ethic, and they understand that excellence is the only choice. Like they cannot come. They have to give 100%. And I remember a story about one of your students that was just doing what he does because of what you taught him,
Mm,
excellence. And I believe one of the representatives just walked up to him and said, "We would like to invite you." Uh,
yes,
is that your story that I
yes,
remember?
yes.
Tell me about that story, or tell
So
our audience about that story.
So at this is all coming. It was some great things that happened from us going to state as district reps. So from that moment, so the students go to workshops throughout the day, and the students dance hard, they perform hard, and they enjoy it. And Abby O'Brien, who is a very prominent director in New York City, and she's directed several musicals and plays. She said, Miss O'Brien, I would love to have this student to come to our acting summer stock." And I was like, well, yes." She was like, "I saw him, and I absolutely want to have him." And he went, and he was
Full
given a
ride.
full ride, $6,000
Wow.
scholarship to attend this camp.
And that was because of you,
Well,
because of the work that you did with that student. Because if I remember when that student came to you, the ethics, the work ethic, and understanding that you have to always, someone's always watching. I remember you saying those things to them as well. You think people are not watching, but everyone's watching. And then having that in his mind was sure that he was doing what he needed to do.
yeah.
Wow.
And that was a success story within itself, because that particular student, the students were not interested in doing Once on This Island. So that particular student wanted to do tech. So they all started out with, "I don't want to do this play." They were having a moment. "I don't want to do this play." And so, had I not pushed him and said, "Oh, no, well, if you don't do this play, then you can't do this, 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 and this." And he also, just on the spot, not a principal actor or anything, got another full ride scholarship just from performing in Once on This Island.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did have a lot of
Amazing.
success, from performing that one act. There was a lot of that during that play.
And as if you don't do enough teaching for Miami-Dade College, teaching for Miami-Dade Public Schools, you decide on your summers off you're going to go to NYU and take more classes. Yeah.
Yes.
So, how has being a student again influenced your teaching and artistry?
I realize I love being a student, right? It is such a moment, because as I look at my students, they're such drama kids. And when I get in an atmosphere with other theater students, I'm a drama kid. So it feels great to be in an environment with people that just get you, right? They get the creativity, they understand, they know where you're coming from. It's like being in a circle, being accepted, like a theater class, like we talked about a little bit earlier when I am a student. So it has been a wonderful opportunity for me also to hone my skills. So things that I'm learning at NYU, they come honestly from a different perspective, right? Because I have done a majority of my work with African American students, African American teachers. So I have had a variety of professors at NYU, and it gives me a different perspective that I can bring back to my students, right?
Oh, yes.
Which is something that they're not going to expect from us.
Always striving for excellency.
Yes, I try.
So, what does it mean to share this stage tonight with your students?
I am excited to share the space with some of my absolute favorite students. They are extremely talented. And see, every time I see them perform, I am absolutely proud of them. The students that are coming up today, I am very excited that they decided to pursue their futures at my alma mater, FAMU. Go Rattlers!
All right.
So that's double the love, right? That they
Mhm.
went to an institution where I honed my skills and I'm seeing them to develop. So to share this space with these talented individuals is just very exciting for me.
So, I am very excited as well that they're going to FAMU, your
Mhm.
alma mater. But I also want to let the audience know that Miami-Dade College also has performing arts, right?
Yes.
And we have theater, we have students that actually put on full production performances and plays right at Miami-Dade College North Campus. We have top of the line equipment. Um, Theater, props, everything that you can think of that a student would have in a top notch theater school. We also have it here at Miami Dade College, and we do have a partnership with FAMU where students actually complete their associate in arts here and they can transfer to FAMU and continue their
Wow.
education. Just want to put that plug out there for Miami Dade College.
Yes. Hint,
Well,
hint to some of those that are in the room. Hint, hint.
right.
Yes.
If you're not in school now or if you're considering coming back to school, this is a great option. It really
Yes.
is. Miami-Dade College.
And honestly, it really is. I will say every time I did most of my performances when I was at Michael Crop here, actually all of my performances, and they really have an excellent level of service. The theater department, they roll out the red carpet for the kids. You know, we come in, everything is professional. We're using the equipment, the
Yes.
sound guys, the staging.
And they get that kind of experience just from performing on the stage here at Miami-Dade College.
Yes, so I can attest to it. It's
So,
amazing.
what do you hope the audience takes away from seeing your students perform this evening?
Happiness, excitement, to see the gift of talented people that has been brought forth here this evening. I hope they enjoy it and know that these young, beautiful people are growing and they haven't gotten to their peak yet, but I'm hoping that they one day will be on the stage somewhere making me proud so I can be like, ah, that's my student. Ah, that's my student.
You do that now.
I do that now. I get very ghetto like when it's
Oh,
time to represent. So I'm not like this. I'm like, ah.
That's right. You have to
So
let them know that you're there
I'm
supporting and rooting for them.
exactly. I have a student that is in he's an MJ the musical, and it is
Oh, I saw that. My husband took me to see it for my birthday back in April.
wow.
My twin and I, yes, we went to see it. It was wonderful. I had a great time.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is in the West End version.
Okay.
So that's in London. So I haven't had the opportunity to come over to see him yet, but I'm just very proud of him. He also gave back. That's the thing I love about my students though, right? So all of my students remember when someone came to the school for them. And he came back. He did a workshop with them. Oh, it was
that's great.
amazing.
That's
So
great.
that's what I would say about all of my students. They will always come back. One of the students that's here now, he's come back several times to help. When it's time for them to go to competition, he's looking at the scene and he's like, okay, Miss Obryant, that right there, that's a critic's choice. And he called it because that one was a critic's choice.
Oh, that is
So
great. So many success stories, right? On and
yeah.
off the stage with your
Yeah.
students. So, what do you hope your students remember most about learning under your guidance?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I hope they remember the love and the
Yes.
passion that I have for the arts and the love and passion that they have for the arts, and to never stop, whether they're teaching, whether they're performing, whether no matter what it is, you know, and to know that as long as I'm here, I'll always be available for them.
That is awesome. So, we are ready for some of your students to come to the stage. What lasting words would you like to say to the audience about you as a professional, about choosing a career in education, about pouring into our youth who needs it so much right now? What advice or what would you like to say in our closing?
I would just say thank you, right? If there's anything that I needed to say, it would be thank you for trusting the process.
Mm-hmm.
With all of my students, it always starts, I don't know why. I'm like, God, why do I always have to start out so rough, right? Why can't I just get in there? And it's like, oh my God, we've been waiting for you all our lives, right? But thank you for trusting the process. Every student that trusts the process, they have been successful.
That's great.
So
That's great. Well, thank you, Miss April Obryant, for sharing a little bit with us about your passion, about the work that you do, about your students, about what drives you. I believe that it's important for others to understand and to know that we have talent in our classrooms right here in Miami-Dade County and in our public school systems. Students do not need to go very far to get the best education possible and to learn to be excellent. So thank you again for sitting with me on center stage at Meek the interview. And we're going to end this segment and move on to our second segment. Thank you.
well, thank you once again for having me here on Center Stage. If we had time, I would sing a song for you, but I don't think it's enough time for that. So we'll just go ahead and end here.
The drama.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.